More than 40 years ago, street poster and advertising firm Phantom Billstickers was born on a Christchurch street. Now that company operates around New Zealand, transforming outdoor advertising as we know it, while sticking to its roots. Phantom Billstickers Chief Executive Robin McDonald joins me now. Welcome, Robin.
Thank you.
Well, let's go right back to the beginning and tell me a wee bit about how Phantom Billstickers came about and what's with the name.
Yeah, so we are a product of our name, I guess. So our founder, Jim Wilson, was promoting bands in Christchurch in the 80s, and was putting up posters for his gigs, and could see that there was a better way, and that he was covering people who were covering him, who were covering someone else, and so he realised that if everyone worked together and aggregated the advertising into one kind of agent, then everyone would get a good showing. And so Phantom kind of came about. The name Phantom was actually given to us by a graphic designer called Ian Darzell, who sort of he did a lot of the early Flying Nun posters and work. So but it was sort of I guess we were a product of the name back then. Very much we went out in the middle of the night and stuck up posters.
And how has that sort of transformed to where you are now?
Where we are now, where we have 30 staff and about as many contractors nationwide, operating in 13 centres, putting up. We have about 6,500 display points around the country. Everything's consented and legitimate, and we no longer have to go out in the middle of the night and stick up posters, although sometimes we do because it's easier to get around traffic. But yeah, it's a very different business these days.
Mm-hmm. And how have you sort of transformed Phantom Billstickers from, I suppose, sort of posters into sort of more sort of outdoor advertising and sort of murals and billboards?
Yeah, well, it's about just sort of for us seeing the opportunities as they come about. A few years ago we had clients started coming to us saying, "Hey, can you do us a mural?" And so we'd find a location and organise an artist and do that, and that sort of turned into a big growth area of the business where we were doing a lot of hand painted advertising. But yeah, and then with the other parts of it, it's been kind of led by our clients in the industry, asking for a better quality product.
Mm-hmm.
The old way of doing posters was you'd find a wall and you'd slap up as many posters as you could on that wall, whereas we sort of individually frame every poster now, so everything has its own frame. Every poster goes through its own special treatment process, so it's weatherproof. Every frame is booked every week by different advertisers. Every frame has sort of attribution indexes on it, so we know what kind of audience sees the poster at what point of the day. So yeah, there's a whole lot of different data points that add value for the customer.
Yeah, how do you compete, I suppose, against some of the big wigs in the industry, the big sort of billboards and those sort of companies? Yeah,
well, I guess it's interesting, and I guess I'd say that as the industry's digitised, we've become more competitive in that market because historically large format out of home has been sold in month-long blocks, whereas we were always sold week by week. And as the industry is digitised, they've sold week by week as well. So what we've found is that the industry has realised that the industry has changed to our way of selling, which has made it easier for us. But we're sort of we're operating in a static, largely static advertising space, but we're managing to grow our share in that space.
And how did COVID impact the business?
Hugely. It was in March or February 2020, 60% of our clients were events, and by April we had no clients. So definitely went through some real challenging times, but the events scene's rebuilt itself. The advertising agency market's kind of fighting through some tough times, and we're seeing real renewed interest from our direct customers as well.
Mm-hmm. And what's the secret to a 40-year-old business?
Sticking at it. I'd be lying if I said to you that as a 40-year-old business, that every year was great and it was always plain sailing. It's it has its ups and downs, but if you just keep sticking at it and keep to your core principles of which for us is about adding value.
Mm-hmm. And as the man in charge, so how do you plan to evolve the business further? Where do you see it in sort of 5 years' time?
We are what we're told by people around the world is that we are the best in the world at doing posters. So the idea is to kind of leverage that a bit.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
To support our award-winning independent journalism, subscribe to nbr.co.nz.